The bar smelled like desperation and spilled whiskey. But that was not why I was there. I was there because of my wife, my perfect, loving, loyal wife. Or at least that's what I used to think. It all started with that goddamn office party. I was there with her. A glass of scotch in my hand. Watching the room with the bored detachment of a man who did not belong. Office parties were not my thing, but Emily had begged me to come. Said it would be fun. Said she wanted me to meet her co-workers. I should have paid attention to how nervous she was when she said it. Should have caught the way her eyes darted toward a man across the room. Daniel, that was his name. I did not know it then. But I saw the way she laughed with him. The way she leaned in. The way her fingers brushed his arm like it was second nature. She looked at him like he was the only person in the room. And when she noticed me watching, she straightened so fast it was like I caught her with her hand in the cookie jar. She spent the rest of the night glued to my side. Overcompensating, laughing too loud at my jokes, kissing me a little too often. I should have confronted her then. But I did not. Instead, I let her drag me home. Let her kiss me like she was trying to erase whatever I saw. I told myself I was imagining things. That I was overthinking it. And then she started avoiding Daniel. The very next day, she stopped mentioning him, stopped talking about work at all. And those late nights started. First, it was 1 or 2 here and there. Then it was every week. Then twice a week. Then I opened the door. It was a Thursday night. She was supposed to be working late. But I had this feeling in my gut that would not let me sleep. So I drove to her office. The lot was half empty. Her car was there. The lights in the building were still on. I took the elevator up, my pulse hammering against my ribs. And as soon as I stepped into the hallway, I heard it. Voices. A man's voice. Hers. Laughing. Whispering. The door to her office was slightly ajar. My feet felt like lead. My body moving before my mind could stop me. I pushed it open. And there she was. With him. My wife. My Emily. Sitting on her desk. Her skirt hitched up. His hands on her thighs. And her face, her expression was burned into my skull. She was not shocked. She was not scared. She was annoyed. Like I was the one in the wrong. Like I was the one ruining her night. Her first words were not, "This is not what it looks like." They were not, "I can explain." They were, "Oh, come on, really?" I did not say anything at first. I just stood there, staring, trying to make sense of what I was seeing. My brain refused to accept it. My wife, Emily, sitting there like she belonged to someone else. Like I was the inconvenience. Daniel, because now I knew exactly who the hell he was, had the nerve to sigh, like I'd interrupted something important. He did not even look guilty. Just irritated. The man was still standing between her legs. Still too close. And Emily, she did not push him away. She did not scramble to fix her skirt. She did not look ashamed. She just crossed her arms and rolled her eyes. "Do not be dramatic," she said. "Do not be dramatic." Like I was the problem here. I felt something inside me snap. Dramatic. My voice came out too calm. Too steady. Because I was 2 seconds away from putting my fist through Daniel's face. You're sitting here in the dark with your legs wrapped around some guy. And I'm being dramatic. Daniel had the balls to scoff. Like this whole thing was beneath him. "Dude, chill out. Chill out." I laughed. Actually laughed. It sounded wrong in my own ears. My hands were shaking, but not from fear. From pure, ice-cold fury. You're screwing my wife. And I should just what? Go grab a drink? Let you finish? Emily groaned. Like I was embarrassing her. Embarrassing her. Oh my God! You're acting like a psycho. She slipped off the desk. Shoving Daniel aside. Finally fixing her skirt like it even mattered now. She had the nerve to glare at me. You see, not just show up at my job and start making accusations. I actually took a step back. blinking at her in disbelief. Was she serious? Making accusations? Are you out of your mind? I asked, my voice rising. I just walked in on you too. I do not need to make accusations, Emily. I just saw it with my own eyes. She rolled her eyes again. That smug, infuriating little eye roll. You do not know what you saw. That was it. That was her whole defense. Not I'm sorry. Not I messed up. Just gaslighting me to my face. Like I was the idiot here. Daniel, the dead man standing, actually had the gall to smirk. You remaking a scene, dude. I saw red. I lunged for him. But Emily shoved herself between us, slamming both hands against my chest. Stop it, she snapped, her nails digging into my shirt. Jesus. You re-embarrassing me. I laughed again. Because what else was I supposed to do? Embarrassing her? She was standing in the middle of her office, her face still flushed from whatever the hell she'd been doing with him. And I was the embarrassment. I took a slow step back, forcing myself to breathe. If I did not, I was going to do something I'd regret. Something he would not walk away from. Emily sighed like she was so tired of me. Then she turned to Daniel. In front of me. I'll call you later. She would call him later. Like I was a minor inconvenience. A speed bump in her night. I looked at her, really looked at her. The woman I had spent years of my life with, the woman I had trusted, loved, and I realized something. I did not know her at all, that I do not remember leaving her office. 1 second I was standing there, heart pounding, fists clenched, watching my wife dismiss me like I was some random stranger who had just inconvenienced her. Like I was a nobody. And the next thing I knew, I was outside in the cold. My hands gripping the steering wheel so tightly my knuckles ached. I had not even processed it yet. It did not feel real. The image of her on that desk with him was burned into my skull. But my brain kept trying to convince me it was not real. That maybe I'd misunderstood. That maybe I had overreacted. But then her words echoed in my head. I'll call you later. I slammed my fist against the dashboard. Hard. The pain shot up my arm, but it barely registered. She was not sorry. She did not care. She had not even pretended to feel bad. I should have gone home. I should have taken a breath. Calmed down. Figured out my next move. But I was not thinking straight. My blood was boiling. And I could not go home to our house, to her house. Not yet. So I did something stupid. I turned the car around and went back. Not to Emily's office. To Daniel's. I knew where the bastard worked. Emily had mentioned it once in passing when she was still pretending to be a decent wife. Some finance firm downtown. I had no plan. No idea what I was going to do when I got there. All I knew was that I could not let this slide. I pulled up outside the building, my fingers drumming against the steering wheel. It was late. The office was dark, except for a few windows still glowing on the top floors. I sat there for a few minutes, my mind racing. Then, before I could second-guess myself, I got out of the car. The lobby was empty except for a security guard. An older guy who barely glanced up from his phone when I walked in. I did not stop. I headed straight for the elevators. I had no idea what floor Daniel worked on. But I remembered Emily mentioning something about the 14th. I jabbed the button hard, hammering. The doors slid open. Empty hallway. Perfect. I started walking, checking the name plates on the doors. There. Daniel Harris. I did not hesitate. I twisted the handle locked. Of course. But right next to his office was a break room. The lights were on inside and someone was in there. I stepped closer and then I heard it. A voice. Her voice. Emily. What the hell was she doing here? She was supposed to be at her office. She was supposed to be dealing with the mess she just made. But no, she was here. With him. Again, my pulse pounded in my ears. I took another step, pressing myself against the wall just outside the door. God, that was a mess. Emily was saying, her voice light, amused, like she was laughing about it about me. You should have seen his face though. Poor guy looked like a kicked puppy. Daniel chuckled. He'll get over it, he said, or he would not either way, not my problem, not his problem. Something in me snapped. I stepped into the doorway. They both froze. Emily's smile vanished. Daniel straightened, his hands still resting on the table between them. For the first time that night, she actually looked scared. I smiled. A slow, cold smile. Well, I said, my voice deathly calm. I guess I should have knocked. Emily shot up so fast her chair scraped against the tile, her face draining of color. She had not expected me to find her here. She thought she had all the power in this situation. She thought I'd stormed out, gone home to cry, maybe drowned myself in a bottle of whiskey while she sat here with her boyfriend laughing about what a fool I was. Daniel did not move at first. He just stared at me, a flicker of something crossing his face. Maybe surprise, maybe annoyance, but not fear. Not yet. He still thought this was funny. He still thought I was some pathetic husband who'd just take it and leave. Emily was the first to speak. And of course, it was something stupid. What the hell are you doing here? Not I'm sorry. Not let us talk. Not even this is not what it looks like. Just pure arrogant audacity. I let the doors swing shut behind me, stepping forward just enough to watch them squirm. My hands were steady now. My heart beat calm. If I was angry before, now I was something else entirely, something colder. I should be asking you that, I said. My voice was not raised. It was almost pleasant. You said you were working late, but instead here you are. Again, Emily crossed her arms. But I saw the way her fingers twitched, like she wanted to fidget. She was nervous. Good. She should be. You need to leave, she said, like she was scolding a child. This is ridiculous. Daniel stood then, pushing his chair back. And for the first time, I saw a flicker of uncertainty in his eyes. He had gotten away with this before. Probably more than once. I was not the first husband to catch him. But I might be the first who did not just walk away. This is not the place, man, he said, trying to sound firm. Go home. Go home. Like I was the one who needed to leave. Like I was the outsider in my own marriage. I almost laughed. Instead, I took another step, looking between the two of them. Tell me something, I said, my voice smooth. How long? Emily scoffed, tossing her hair over her shoulder. The sheer audacity of this woman. Does it matter? Did it matter? Is there to hear the woman I had loved, the woman I had built a life with? And in that moment, I felt nothing for her. Not love, not pain, not even anger, just disgust. You know what? I said, shaking my head. You rewrite? It does not. I turned to leave. But before I did, I pulled my phone from my pocket and hit play. Emily's voice filled the break room. Loud, clear, that smug, mocking tone she had just minutes ago. You should have seen his face, though. Poor guy looked like a kicked puppy. Daniel's laugh followed. He'll get over it. Or he would not. Either way, not my problem. Silence. Emily went rigid. Daniel paled. I turned back to them, watching the realization sink in. You, Emily started, but she did not have words anymore. I smiled. A slow, cruel smile. Oh, do not stop now, I said. It gets better. And then I hit send to everyone. Emily's family, her boss, her co-workers, mutual friends, everyone. Emily lunged for my phone. But I stepped back, shoving it in my pocket. You psycho, she screeched. What the hell did you just do? I tilted my head, enjoying the way she finally looked afraid. I just let everyone hear the real you. Daniel took a step forward, raising his hands like he was about to play mediator. But I was not interested. I was done here. I turned to the door. But before I left, I looked at Emily one last time. We're done, I said simply, and by the time you get home, your things will be on the lawn. Then I walked out, leaving them in stunned, horrified silence. And for the first time all night, I actually felt good. I drove home with the kind of clarity that only comes after you burn everything down. The streets were empty. The street lights casting long, stretching shadows over the asphalt. My phone buzzed in my pocket. Emily over and over, desperate now, but I did not pick up. Let her panic. Let her suffer. She deserved it. By the time I pulled into the driveway, I already knew what I was going to do. I was not just leaving her. I was erasing her. I threw open the front door and went straight to the bedroom. Emily's side of the closet was filled with the designer clothes she loved so much. The ones I had paid for, the ones she had worn on her dates with Daniel one by one. I ripped them from the hangers. Shoes, dresses, handbags, all of it. I did not stop there. I yanked open drawers, swept her perfume bottles off the vanity, tore framed photos off the walls. Every single trace of her gone. By the time I was done, there was a pile of her things stacked on the front lawn like garbage waiting for pickup. And that's exactly what she was now, garbage. I went back inside, locking the door behind me. I was done, more than done. But then headlights, a car pulled up to the curb, tires screeching as it jerked to a stop. A second later, the driver's side door flew open. And there she was. Emily, breathless, frantic, wild-eyed in the glow of the street lamp. And for the first time all night, she looked like she understood exactly what she had done. She ran toward the house, stopping dead when she saw the mess I had made, her things scattered across the lawn, the expensive bags, the carefully folded clothes, the jewelry boxes spilling open into the grass. Her mouth fell open. "Oh my God!" she breathed. I stepped out onto the porch, arms crossed. "Take your stuff and go." My voice was ice. She turned to me, eyes wide, finally realizing this was not a fight she could win. "You serious?" she whispered. "You actually?" I laughed short and sharp. "Did you think I was joking?" She let out a breathy, hysterical little laugh. Like this was funny. "Jesus, you such a child." She snapped, her voice shrill. "You seriously throwing a tantrum because I had a little fun?" "A little fun." I actually saw red. I stepped forward so fast she flinched. "Fun." My voice was low, deadly calm, lying to my face, sneaking around, laughing about it with your boyfriend. "That's fun to you." She jutted her chin out, defiant. "I would not have had to sneak around if you were not so boring. That was it. That was the moment I knew there was nothing left to save. I reached into my pocket and pulled out my phone. I pulled up my banking app. Emily's face twisted in confusion until I tapped a few buttons and drained our joint account right in front of her. Her jaw dropped. What are you doing?" I shrugged. "Separating finance." She lunged forward, grabbing at my arm. "You see, not just." I pulled back before she could touch me. I already did. Her eyes darted to my phone and then to the house. Realization set in. The house was in my name. The cars mean the savings. Now only mine. She had nothing for the first time all night. Emily panicked. "Baby, come on," she said, her voice suddenly soft, syrupy. The manipulator she had always been stepping forward. "We do not have to do this. Let us talk inside." "Okay," I smiled. "You do not live here anymore." Her breath hitched. I jerked my chin toward her things. "Take your trash and go." She just stood there, staring at me like she did not even recognize me. Maybe she did not, because the man who used to love her did not exist anymore. And the man standing in front of her was never going to let her win. Emily did not move. She just stood there, her chest rising and falling in quick, shallow breaths. Her hands clenched into fists at her sides. I could see it happening in real time, the gears turning in her head, cycling through her options. Manipulation had always been her weapon of choice. But now she was out of tricks. Her voice softened. "Baby, please. You do not mean this." I laughed. Loud, sharp, cruel. Laughter that told her I meant every single word. She blinked rapidly, her lip trembling. Fake tears. I had seen her cry for real before. And this was not it. This was a performance. She took a step forward, her arms lifting slightly, like she was about to reach for me. Let us go inside. We can talk about this. I tilted my head inside into my house. Her nostrils flared. The mask slipped for half a second. Then just as quickly it was back. Our house, she corrected, her voice soft, like she was explaining something to a child. We built a life here, baby. You do not just throw that away over a misunderstanding. I stepped closer, lowering my voice to a deadly whisper. You rewrite. I said, I do not throw things away over misunderstandings. But this, I gestured between us. This was not a misunderstanding. This was you choosing to betray me over and over. And now you refacing the consequences. Her breath hitched. Then suddenly the crocodile tears disappeared. Her eyes hardened. Her mouth twisted into something cold. Something mean. There she was. The real Emily. You seriously going to ruin everything over some stupid little mistake? She spat. You such a, I cut her off. Do not. The single word froze her in place. Do not try to spin this. I said, my voice still calm. Too calm. You knew exactly what you were doing. And you thought you'd get away with it. I let my lips curl into a slow mocking smile. How is that working out for you? She glared. Seethed. And then her true colors bled through. You pathetic. She hissed. You think you punishing me? You just proving why I needed someone else. You weak, predictable, a joke. I did not react. Not even a blink. She was desperate now, throwing whatever she could to hurt me to regain control. But she had already lost. I reached into my pocket again. And this time, I pulled out something worse than my phone. A folded piece of paper. Emily frowned. What's that? I flicked it open and read the first line out loud. Petition for dissolution of marriage. She went still. I held it up between two fingers and smiled. No warmth. No love. Just the satisfaction of a man who had just crushed the woman who tried to destroy him. You cheated, I said simply. And now you get what cheaters deserve. Emily lunged for the papers. Her face twisted in panic. No, 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 you see, not just. I pulled them back before she could snatch them. Oh, but I can. I gave her a mocking pout. And I already filed them. She staggered, literally staggered back like I had just struck her. I should have felt bad. I did not. I shoved the papers into her hands. This is over. I said, you done? You have nothing. No husband, no home, no money, no future here. Cocked my head. I say I feel bad for you. But I do not. Her hands trembled as she stared at the documents. She opened her mouth. But for the first time ever, she had nothing to say. I smiled, truly smiled. Then I turned, walked back inside and slammed the door in her face. I stood inside, leaning against the closed door, listening to the stunned silence on the other side. Emily did not move. Not at first. I imagined her standing there, clutching the divorce papers, her mind scrambling to find a way out of this to regain control. But she was out of moves. The doorbell rang once, twice, then a series of frantic, desperate jabs. Her voice came next, muffled through the wood. Let me in. We need to talk about this. I did not answer. I walked to the living room, picked up a half-empty bottle of whiskey, and sank into the couch. The buzzing of my phone had stopped. She must have realized that calling me was not going to get her anywhere. Now she was trying the only tactic left, begging. Please, baby. She called, her voice wavering. Let us be adults about this. Adults? The irony was almost funny. I poured a glass, savoring the burn as it slid down my throat. The knock on the door turned into pounding. Open the door. Her voice was sharper now. The desperation slipping away, replaced by anger. You see, not do this to me. I laughed. A cold, bitter sound. She still did not get it. She thought she could bully her way back in. Twist the situation until I caved. It had worked before. She had always known how to play me. But she underestimated just how much she had broken me tonight. I stood up, walked back to the door, and opened it just enough to see her face. Her eyes were red, her cheeks blotchy. The perfect picture of a woman whose world was crashing down. "Why are you doing this?" she demanded. "We remarried. We supposed to work through things. Not just you threw this marriage away the second you decided I was not enough." I cut in, my voice flat. "You made your choice, Emily. Now you get to live with it." She swallowed hard, her eyes darting over my face, looking for any sign of weakness. There was none left. "Okay," she said, her tone shifting to something more conciliatory. "Look, I messed up, but it was a mistake. One mistake. And you ready to throw everything away. One mistake." The audacity almost made me laugh again. "Was it?" I asked quietly. "Just one." Her silence told me everything I needed to know. I stepped back, holding the door open. "You have 10 minutes to get your things off my lawn. After that, they going in the trash." Her eyes widened. "You would not dare watch me?" For a moment, I thought she was going to argue, try to push her way in. But then she must have seen something in my eyes. Something that told her there was no point. No more lies. No more manipulation. She spun on her heel, stomping down the steps toward her things. I stood in the doorway, watching her with detached interest. She moved frantically, tossing clothes into her car, muttering curses under her breath. It was not until she reached for a small box near the bottom of the pile that I finally felt a flicker of something. Regret. Maybe. Because I knew what was in that box. Our memories. Photos from our wedding. Tickets from our first date. Small, stupid mementos of a life that had meant something to me once. She paused, her fingers trembling as she clutched the box to her chest. For a second, her eyes met mine, and I saw a flash of vulnerability. A flicker of the woman I had fallen in love with. But it was too late. "Take it," I said coldly. "It's all you've got left." Her lips pressed into a thin line. Without another word, she turned, got into her car, and drove away, leaving a trail of gravel and dust in her wake. I stood there in the quiet, watching the taillights disappear down the street. And for the first time in a long time, I felt something like peace. She was gone. And now it was time to rebuild the life she had tried to destroy. The silence in the house was different now. It was not tense or heavy or filled with the weight of a lie I had not yet uncovered. It was clean, free. The ghost of Emily still lingered in the air, her perfume clinging to the fabric of the couch, the faintest imprint of her voice echoing in the quiet. But it would not last. She was gone. And soon she'd be nothing more than a bad memory. I grabbed a trash bag and started moving the sheets gone. I stripped the bed and dumped them into the bag, along with her pillow, her stupid decorative candles that I never lit, in the trash. Every single framed photo of us smashed one by one. I ripped them off the walls, the glass shattering under my hands. But I did not feel it, did not care. Emily had spent years making this house hers, picking the curtains, rearranging the furniture, filling every corner with things that she thought made us look like the perfect couple. But now I was taking it back. By the time I was done, the house was almost unrecognizable. The bedroom, once carefully curated to her taste, was stripped down to nothing. The living room cleared of anything that had her touch on it. The kitchen, emptied of the stupid little things she loved, her favorite coffee mug, the wine glasses she insisted on buying even though either of us drank wine. I was getting rid of her in every way I could. And then I opened the closet. That's when I found it tucked away in the back, hidden behind winter coats, and old luggage was a shoebox, plain unmarked shoebox. At first, I thought it was just more of her junk that I had missed. But something about the way it was hidden made my stomach twist. I pulled it down, my hands oddly steady, lifted the lid, and my entire body went cold. Inside were letters, notes, small scraps of paper with hurried handwriting, but not mine. Daniels, I picked one up, my heart hammering in my ears. The paper was creased from being folded and unfolded 100 times. I see and not stop thinking about last night. I wish you did not have to go home to him. Another sir, when are you going to tell him he does not deserve this another? I love you. Do you love me? I love you. I let out a breath. A sharp, bitter laugh. She had not just been cheating. She had been building a future with him. This was not some fling, some meaningless office affair. She had been planning something. Maybe she was waiting until she was sure Daniel would commit. Maybe she was waiting for me to find out so she would not have to be the bad guy. Either way, she was never going to stay. And she had let me believe otherwise. My fingers clenched around the letters, the edges crumpling beneath my grip. Then, slowly, deliberately, I walked to the kitchen, grabbed a lighter, and stepped onto the back porch. I set the first letter on fire, watched as the flames licked up the paper, curling the edges, turning the words to ash. Then I lit another and another until every single letter, every secret, every whispered confession between them was nothing but smoke in the wind. She had already taken enough from me. She was not going to take another second. The fire burned fast, too fast. I wanted to savor it, to watch each word of betrayal blacken and curl, to let the flames consume every secret she had kept from me. But within minutes, the letters were nothing but smoldering ash, scattering into the night like they had never existed. Just like Emily would, I stood there for a long time, staring at the glowing embers. My mind felt empty, like I had finally burned through every ounce of anger, every shred of disbelief. The betrayal was still there. It would always be there. But something had shifted. She did not matter anymore. I turned back to the house. My footsteps slow, deliberate. Every inch of this place had been touched by her, shaped by her. But that was temporary. Soon, this house would be mine again. I stepped inside and locked the door, more out of finality than necessity. Emily was not coming back. She had no reason to. But as I made my way through the darkened rooms, my phone buzzed on the counter, unknown caller. I stared at it, my jaw tightening. Emily had to be. Maybe she had found the letters missing. Maybe she had realized I was stronger than she thought. Maybe she just could not accept that she had lost. I let it ring. Then it buzzed again. This time a voicemail notification popped up. I exhaled slowly, rolling my shoulders, willing my pulse to slow. Then after a long moment I pressed play. But it was not Emily's voice that came through the speaker. It was Daniel's. "Hey, man." His voice was casual to casual. I could hear the smirk in it. The same arrogance he had when he told me to chill out. "Guessing Emily told you about us." "Huh." A short chuckle. Bet that stung. My fingers curled into a fist. But I did not stop listening. "She's a piece of work." "Huh. Bet she told you it did not mean anything. That it was just a mistake." Another laugh. Smug. Mocking. "She tell you she loved me because she did. Still does." My breath left my lungs in one sharp, controlled exhale. "You think you won?" Daniel continued, his voice dripping with amusement. "Man, you lost the second she met me. She was mine the whole time. You were just the safety net. The boring husband she settled for. That was it. That was the moment I knew I had made a mistake. Not in leaving her. Not in throwing her out. But in thinking this was over. I let the message play out. My entire body locked in place. Barely breathing. "I bet she's miserable right now," Daniel mused. "I should check on her. Maybe even keep her company. Since, a low chuckle. She does not have a place to stay." The voicemail ended with a beep. And then I was moving. I did not think. I did not pause. I grabbed my keys and was out the door before I even knew where I was going. But I knew exactly where to find them. And when I did, this would end for good. I drove like a man possessed. The city lights blurred past me. Streaks of white and red as I tore through the streets, gripping the wheels so hard my fingers ached. My mind was a war zone, rage, adrenaline, and a dark burning need to end this. Daniel thought this was a game. He thought he could gloat, laugh, spit on the wreckage of my life, and walk away unscathed. He was wrong. I knew exactly where Emily would go. She had nowhere else. Her parents lived hours away. And I doubted she'd decrawl to a friend's couch after everything I had exposed. No, she would go to the one place she still felt safe. Daniel's apartment. I pulled up to his building and killed the engine, breathing hard. His car was there. Hers was not. I climbed out, every muscle in my body coiled tight. The air was cold, sharp against my skin. But I barely felt it. My mind was locked on one thing. Finishing this. I reached his door and knocked once, twice. No answer. I knocked again, harder this time. Pause. Then footsteps. The door swung open. And there he was. Daniel, smug, careless, standing there in sweatpants and a t-shirt like he did not have a single regret in the world. He smirked. Well, that was fast. I did not hesitate. Punched him. The impact cracked through the hallway, his head snapping back as he stumbled into the doorway. He let out a curse, staggering, clutching his jaw. I grabbed him by the shirt and shoved him back inside, slamming the door shut behind me. You think this is funny? My voice was low, lethal. You think you get to ruin my life and laugh about it? He wiped his mouth, checking for blood. Jesus, man, you need to. I hit him again, harder this time. He crashed into the counter, knocking over a half-empty beer bottle. Say it again. I hissed. Say one more thing about how she was yours. Say one more thing about how I lost. His breath was ragged now, his hands up in a weak attempt at defense. The arrogance was gone. He had spent so much time stealing other men's wives that he had never stopped to think about what would happen when one of them fought back. He glared up at me, his chest rising and falling fast. You're insane. I smiled. No, I said, I'm free. Then, just as quickly as I had come, I stepped back. I let him catch his breath. Let him feel the weight of me choosing to let him go. I turned toward the door. But before I left, I glanced over my shoulder. My voice calm. Even if you ever call me again, if you ever go near my ex-wife again, hell, if you even think about me, I met his eyes, holding them, letting him feel every ounce of truth in my words. I would not stop at a few punches next time. Daniel swallowed hard, pressing a shaking hand to his face. He believed me. I left without another word. The second I stepped outside, I felt it, the weight of everything finally lifting. I had wasted years of my life loving a woman who had never deserved me. I had let her lie to me, manipulate me, break me, but I was not broken anymore. By the time I got home, the sun was creeping over the horizon, bathing the house in soft gold light. My house, mine. I stepped inside, locked the door behind me, and took a deep, steady breath. It was over. And for the first time in a long, long time, I felt whole.